Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Gibson, in case you didn't realize that already. And for this project, I chose the aspect of leadership that is servant leadership. To me, that's the most important part of being a leader. I read through several books I read on this subject, Bible passages, you name it. I've read up on this subject. And to me, it just should be the number one aspect of leading. Servant leadership is putting others before yourself, making others greater than you, not looking to constantly be promoting your own self, but promoting those under you, encouraging them, lifting them up, not making yourself being number one. I have a quote here from a book by Bill Hull called The Christian Leader. And he says, the Greek word for humility is tapenos. In Latin, it's humilitas. Both can mean to be made low or to lower oneself. I propose that for the Christian leader, humility is sacrificing or lowering oneself for the benefit of others. It is contentment and joy when you are not the focus, when you are overlooked, when no rewards are being passed out. That isn't always easy to do, but that's, as leaders, what we have to do. We can't be in it to worry about our recognition and how well we look and how well we're promoted. It's about others, other-centered leadership. Servant leadership is also not asking those under you to do anything that you would not do yourself. You can't expect them to do something that you're not willing to get in there and do, that you're not, or that you think you're too above. You're not above anything else that you ask of them to do. It's leading by example also, which goes hand in hand with not asking them to do something that you're not willing to do. You be the example. You put yourself out there and you do the job well. You get in beside and work alongside them. It's teamwork. Being a servant, being humble, and not acting as if you're above them, those under you. When we do that, people will be willing to follow us and do what we ask them to do, because it builds trust and it builds a relationship. When I think of examples of servant leadership, the first person that comes to mind is actually my husband, which may seem a little biased, but I have reason to think that of him. My husband is a police officer and has been in law enforcement for about 20 years. He worked in the jail in Pasco County for 11 years, and when he left there, he was a sergeant. And he went to become a road deputy for Tarpon Springs Police Department, where he has been for 9 years, and he is a corporal. So he was also in the United States Marine Corps and served in Iraq. So he's had many positions of leadership with many people following him. One of the quotes that my husband lives by, actually even has a t-shirt with it on it, is from a man named Jocko Willink, who was a U.S. Navy SEAL and is now a motivational speaker. It says, it's not that I can and others can't. It's that I will when others won't. In other words, it's not that he has so much more capabilities over other people. It's that he's willing to do things that others are not willing to do. And that's how he lives his life. He believes in servant leadership and servanthood above and beyond. He goes above and beyond in his job and his daily duty to do what he's asked to do, to lead others by example. I actually have a plaque here that when he left the Pasco County, that his squad got for him, that they had made. It hangs up on our wall, and it says, your job called for you to be a superior, a supervisor, a boss. To us, you were a leader, a guide, but most of all, a friend. We love you like a brother, and you will be greatly missed. Those are people that he led. And to them, he wasn't just their supervisor. He made a relationship with them. He built that with them. He led them. He guided them. He still has people from there today, 9 years later, that call him for help with things and advice on things, and just because they care about him. And I can't tell you how many people I've had tell me, you'll never know how much your husband helped me. You'll never know what a great leader he was to me. And that means a lot. But ultimately, the highest example of servant leadership is none other than Jesus Christ. We can't not account for that. Jesus came to serve. In Matthew chapter 20, verses 25 to 28, it says, But Jesus called them to himself and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who are great exercise authority over them. Yet it shall not be so among you, but whoever desires to become great among you, let him be your servant. And whoever desires to be first among you, let him be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." Jesus set the ultimate example of servanthood, from washing the disciples' feet to having compassion on the crowd and being moved by their illnesses and weaknesses and hurts, to being concerned about their lunch. In every way, Jesus, he was God, and yet he came to serve mankind in humility and compassion, and he led that and instilled that in his disciples. The last quote that I have is from a book called Be a Leader for God's Sake by Bruce Winston. It says, "The paradox is fascinating." In other words, the paradox of being a humble leader. Instead of trying to achieve, try to serve and delight, and success will follow. Try to succeed for selfish gain, and failure will follow. And that's the bottom line. We have to put others above ourselves, model ourselves after what Jesus did in every way. That is true leadership. Thank you.